Alright, we're going to do a little video here. I'm going to try and hold a light at the same time. So, let's see if we can get some... Look how dull that is, okay? I don't know if you're really going to see it. See the white spots? I just wiped it down, too. See? There you go. Now you're starting to see that clouding. Alright, and let's go up here. See the clouding? And you can even see like a line. See that line? Alright, that's what's happening to the clear. Doesn't take long for that to happen. Alright. And down here though, see the shine? It's not because the vertical surfaces are not in the sun and they don't have the debris that lays on them or the cover hitting it. But this is just the paint, a clear part of the paint that's failing. You can see it all along the trunk. You can see there's no shine to it. I'll try with the other camera as well. Let's see it there. See, but the shiny here. All right, so what's next? Well, I got to think about how I want to position the car and how I want to handle this. Do I want to do one side at a time? We have some pimples here. So, probably going to do this in black and not in this color. That's what I'm thinking. Got pimples over there. So maybe I put the whole car up in the air and do both sides at once. That way if I mix up some Bondo or whatever, I can just do everything. So what I'm thinking is pull the car over a little bit more on its butt and then just get it up in the air. So I think that's what I'm going to do now. And we're going to work the bottom first. And I'll do that in black. And then I guess I'll go right to fixing the clear coat. There's a few other little blemishes I'm going to try to touch up. I might mix up a little bit of paint and put it in my little micro spray gun that I have, a little airbrush. And do it that way. So I like the position it's in the front, but I think if I move the back over a little bit more, that's what we're going to do. And then get it up in the air and just get started. So I'll be working on this part-time because I have to get back to work on the VW a little bit. Alright, so that's where we are. I'm going to do a little bit more tonight before I pack it in. Alright, let's take a look. We're back with the Nova. So today's job is to clean the body of the car around the hood area, and we're going to do some work on the hood and we're going to fix that crack. So it's going to get a two-tone with this bronze. But let's just review. Alright, the car has been wiped down, but you could see some of the hazing on the clear coat. She looks pretty good. There's the stripes on the bottom. I don't know how much you can see. We'll crank on the light over here on this side. Maybe that'll help. Let's just do a quick walk around. And I don't know how much we can see here, but this is the body. And there's a lot of hazing. And nice big ass tire, you know. There's some of the work down below. I think it looks pretty good. And it gives it a nice sort of black stripe. And we'll get the picture of this outside when she gets to be outside. But let's see. See the stripe. And when the car gets cleared, that line is a line here that is a little rough. When the car gets cleared, that's going to go away. But here we are. And so we've got this nice little stripe here, which I think is really nice. It looks great. But we have a couple little issues. Now I had wanted to remove the hood pins and do the system that I wanted, which is it slides into a roller track in the back and locks down, and then a standard latch up front. But I can't do that. But we have some blemishes here. So I can't do that. It's because it's just too much work for right now. So what I want to do is focus on this scratch. It's a scratch that it's a crack, and it's in part because when you pin the hood, it comes down kind of tight. And when I made the reinforcements for the hood, I made a reinforcement in the back because whoever had this hood originally had removed. See how it lifts up here, and you have to really push down, and that is causing issues. So when I made the reinforcement, when it was wet, I didn't have the hood. I had the hood off, so it flexed in the wrong direction. And that's okay. That's okay. We can fix that. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin the hood down tight, and then I'm going to open up this crack a little bit, and we're going to put some Bondo in here. I don't think I need anything more than a little bit of Bondo to fix this crack. Yes, it's flexing, but it's not a crack that goes. There's so much material back in the rear of it. What it did was it flexed the hood and it caused the paint to crack. So what I'm going to use some short strand, because this all got reinforced. And like I said, I should have pinned the hood down while it was wet, but the way I did it, I couldn't do it that way. So this is some of the problems you run into. So what we're going to do is we're going to pin it down tight. I'm going to tape everything off. I'm going to open up this crack a little bit, and I'm going to put some short strand in there. I'm going to finish up with regular Bondo and cream, sweet creams and medium creams, and then I'm going to put the high build primer on it. We're going to sand it off, and the stripe is just going to come in this direction and going to go all the way down, just straight off. So I'm going to start off with a tape that's as close as I think I can get to this crack. And then I'm going to put another run of tape back a little bit further, and one's going to be wishful thinking, and one's going to be my backup. So we're going to lay that out next. But before I do that, I need to clean this all off because there's a lot of wax on the car. So I'm going to use my cleaners, finish up with Windex, wipe everything down, and then I'll lay my tape stripe out, and I'll show you guys what's going on with that. And before I'm done, I'll mask this area off with some masking paper and some plastic and the car cover. And I guess we'll get in there and we're going to open this up. And so it'll be a repair, and it'll look better than having a crack on it. And we're going to see that in bronze, and the bronze will come down towards the front. And it'll be a big stripe. And maybe here I might be able to mix up a little bit of paint, and with an airbrush, we might be able to fix this. And when I clear over everything, just be very careful with rubbing it out in that area. So it'll look more complete. And we're going to do the same thing with this scratch. We're going to put a little bit of material in that to fill it. We're going to color it. We're going to sand it and clear it. So we're going to try and repair it. All right. And here's the VW. So we're going to back off on a Badass Nova, and we'll be back, and we'll see how far I get. Run out of battery here, but let's see what we got going on here. So I should have taken some video of this crack as I dug it out, but it's not that deep. It's really in the paint from the flexing, and it's an area that got a little thick. So what I did was I dug it out, blew it out, cleaned it out. I used my little bit of the Eastwood pre-painting prep, which smells like gum out, so that's basically what it is. And then I mixed up some stuff that I haven't really tried yet this way. Through capillary action, I want to kind of basically glue and stabilize the area, and just painting the whole thing is just too much. So I grabbed my brush and I wicked in a little mixture here, and what I used to start off with was a sandable high build. I used the urethane 2K primer surfacer with just a splash of the activator, and I also put in a little bit of this Superflex. So what I'm hoping for, and this is a test, I may have to just dig in there, but what I'm hoping for, let me back up. I started by sanding it with 360 on some rolls. So what I'm happy for is that I was able to remove the junk on the top with these 360. So what I'm hoping for, what I'm happy for, is I was able to do that. It came down real quick. It's not that deep. What I'm hoping for isn't easy to fix. I don't know if that's going to happen. This is a test. So first step is obviously sand it down. I got it down to 360. It came right down using these two. Basically just wrapped around some pipe insulation and a piece of gas line. And now wicking this material in, I'm going to let it set for about 20 minutes. And I'm going to give it another application. Try to wick it in. And a lot, it went in, it drank it in. So it's getting underneath any paint that may not have come up. It's prepping out the surface. It's putting something down there, and because I don't want to just put like a Bondo down there, or a putty, a glazed putty or spot putty, without something really seeping in. So let's see how much of this it'll drink. Might take a little bit. I'm going to start the clock, shut this video down. I'm going to start the dry clock, and we're going to see. This is getting a little bit thicker as it sets up. I hit it when it was still pretty thin. Oh, we're going to find out very shortly. All right. So here we are. So working with this, which I described before, and this little guy. This is 360, and the Scotch-Brite and our cleaners. Let's see if we can focus in on that. I don't know if it's going to focus in on it. I don't know. I can't see anything. Anyway, this is what we're talking about. That's what I'm down to. And I can't feel anything on this right now at this point. And that was the Sweet Green Bond filler putty. And the rest of it, as you can see, I've Scotch-Brite it. So I'm going to take a look at this. I'm going to clean it off again. And I'm going to mix up a little bit of black Euro primer. And we're going to get to work. And we're going to spray it and maybe leave it overnight. Because it's about 5 o'clock now. But I can't find anything. And I think if I leave it overnight and let it shrink and cure, I think we're going to be good to go. So I'm going to clean this off. I gave it a Scotch-Briting. I did wipe it down once. I'm going to wipe it down one more time. And I think it's had enough Scotch-Briting. I think there's a little bit more Scotch-Brite work over here I can do. And I'm going to get the gray Scotch-Brite. I'm going to clean this up in gray. So we'll be back in a bit. All right. Back on the Nova. This is the primer. And this is really just one good pass. And you can see, except for a couple little pieces there, it's good to go. Alright, it is good to go. And this has been Scotch-Brited medium and the gray, which is fine. 600 grit. I've washed it. And I think it looks really good. You can't see anything. It's ready for a top coat. But what we're going to do, since I have a little bit more primer left, I thinned the primer a little bit, and I'm going to spray a little bit of primer around the corners, around here, and top here. I'm going to start off with this area over here where I had the work, and I'm just going to basically empty what's left in my spray gun. And that's it. We're going to walk away. I'm going to let it dry until tomorrow because it's late and I can clean the gun up. And tomorrow I'm going to come back out and in the same process I'm going to hit it lightly with some 600 grit and some of the gray Scotch-Brite. Get it all cleaned off, washed off, and then I'm going to blow the color that I want on it. And it actually looks good just like that. I mean, if you just want to do a flat black, would certainly make the car look tough. But we're going to go with the bronze to start off with. And if I don't like the bronze, fine. It's the same color that's on the rims. And I think it'll tie in with the other elements that I have here. And it'll look really good. And I like the black on the bottom. That's okay. It kind of ties in with the tires and the rubber. But up here we're going to go with the bronze. It is a metallic. When I put the clear on top and it rubs out nice, it's going to really shine and pop. So, but it looks good like this too, you know. All right, we'll be back in a little bit. Here we are on the next day here, and let's take a look at, this is the area in question. Okay, we'll let the light just kind of lay on that for a minute. It looks great, okay. Problem solved. Now this has just been, like they said, Scotch-Brite at 600 grit. I came up this morning, just a review last night before I left. I took the last little bit in the gun. I hit this again after sanding this whole thing down and cleaning it off. And I hit it again, let it tack up. I hit it again. I really just hit it like 2 or 3 times. and then dump the rest of the gun on the top here. So this morning, after letting it dry overnight and letting it harden, I came out, because last night there was still a few little irregularities. Came out and just hit this area with 600 grit, no Scotch-Brite, cleaned it off. I'm going to tack rag, I'm going to mix up the paint, tack rag, and we're going to blow the bronze on. So let's take a look at just the overall. It's very smooth, it's nice, it's cleaned off. We'll tack it, and let's blow bronze. Alright, we're going to move the shot up. That's the color I'm looking for, and it has clear on it. And this is after just one coat, one good coat. I let it dry, and some of the powder, brown powder, precipitated out, and so I took that off with a tack rag, and it is dry. Okay, now I ran out of some reactive reducer, so I used a lot of thinner in it. Let's just take a look over here. This is the PPG. Okay, and it's an old can, and that was the reactive reducer, I believe, for it, but it just curdles in the can. So, and I also added a little bit of Superflex to that. And I wound up just putting some lacquer thinner, and I tried a little 2K. That didn't work either. It just makes it curdle right away. So I sprayed with just lacquer thinner in it, and I just let it dry for 15-20 minutes, and maybe longer. I don't know. I went and grabbed lunch, and this is what you see on the tack rag, and that's okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little wetter coat. I'm going to take what's left in the gun, and I'm going to add a little bit more lacquer thinner to it and make it light. And I'm going to just buzz over it, just to try to powder it up a little bit so I don't see so much of the shiny. Just to make sure there's no mottling. Lay down the dust and give it another 30 minutes, and we'll see what comes up. It's nicer if you can get a really wet coat on and get it to lay down smooth like that. But you don't need that. If it's dry and powdery, and it's all dry and powdery, and if there is no sheen anywhere, you're going to get less mottling. That's what I find. If you can make it all sheen, great. But it better be every inch of it. For me, it's a little easy to make it powdery, wipe the powder off, and then clear coat it. Hopefully, I don't get a reaction. Now, I really didn't have any reducer activator, and I did the rims, and I have no problems with them, and they've been outside all year, since last year, in the cold, in everything, even in the heat towards the end of the year, and I don't have any issues. All right, we're going to get back to work. We'll come back in a minute. We're going to see what happens. Let's just take a quick look. This is the last coat. I let it dry, tack ragged it off, and this is looking really, really good. It's got a really good matte finish to it. It's uniform. It's like equally dry and wet, however you want to say it, whatever the texture is, sort of matte. This is how you want it, because you want to be able to have a good projection through the clear. If there's any mottling or wet spots or too dry, no good. That's going to come through the clear and be magnified. You want to get the metallic oriented. I don't remember whether I learned it, whether it lays flat or it stands up straight. I forget, but I'll have to look that up. Yeah, I'm not a professional, okay? Well, I am, but I'm not one of those. Anyway, I guess I'm a professional in the sense I make money doing this and I enjoy it as art. So this looks good. I'm very happy with the way it looks. Now let's get the clear on. We're going to come back in a minute, and we're going to see what it looks like after I get all the clear on. Alright, it's late. It's almost 7 or somewhere in that ballpark, and I mean, I'm not 100% enthusiastic about this, because I think in part because I can't see the whole thing, and in part because it's not shiny yet. You can't really see into it, and in part because the green on the car, the clear coat, is all fucked up and it doesn't look right. So and there's plastic and different colored tape on the car, and it's throwing it off, and I can't see the whole car and get the whole concept. But considering what I wanted to fix and how much was not right and what I have to work with and not spending a lot of money, I think it came out pretty good. So there's no flaws, and the crack is gone. This is a few coats of clear on top. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pop these guys off, and I'm going to sand the top down with 600 grit and some Scotch-Brite. I'm going to see if I can airbrush this issue. I don't know if the light is good enough, but you can see a little bit. If I can fix that, then I'm going to just work on the hood. I'm going to mask off the fenders because that's going to need to be sprayed, but I don't think I'm going to do that right now. Maybe. We'll see. And I'm going to do the hood. And I'm going to fix that little issue, get these things off, get the clear, sand this line, you know. I'm going to broach this line with like, well, start off with 1,000 grit. Sand this too, by the way, with 1,000 grit to knock off any issues. Get clear coat on it, get it sanded, get it polished, and then take everything off the car. I might even just do the tops of these fenders, and I'll do the sides another day. I'll decide and stand back and look, and we'll see how that comes out. I think it'll look pretty good. I may want to continue this bronze over the cowl vent area, at least just there. I doubt I'm going to bring it over the top of the car. It's still a possibility. Okay, I don't have much left, but we'll see. See what it's going to look like. All right, I'm out, and I'm going to go eat, and I'm done for today, and I'll get to the next part of the project coming up. All right, here we are. Now I've got the hood set up where basically I have sanded this with 600 and 800, and I've done the same thing here. Looks a lot better. And although I took a little too much of the clear off because it had a little bit of a bubble, so we're going to airbrush that, and then swing over here, and I'm going to mix up some green. I'm going to airbrush there and touch there, right there, and that's it. And I think that's it. So I'm actually going to tape it there. So, but this looks pretty good, although I don't know what this came from. I think it's just a stain. Could be a scratch. But it's going to be re-cleared, so I'm not worried about it. It looks really good. Very happy with the way it came out. I'm not a big fan of the color, but you're going to see it really pop. So let me put a little bit of brown on that to fix it. Then I'm going to put a little bit of green on the areas I just showed, and then I'm going to mix up a touch of clear, and I'm going to put the clear on just with the airbrush, and then hopefully that'll work, and then I'm going to walk away and let it dry till tomorrow. See what happens. Alright, we'll be back in a little bit. Alright, we're zooming in, and I got to charge the batteries again. Okay, that's airbrush. Remember that spot? Not there. Now I'm going to put a little clear on that. I did this area too. It's just a little bit of paint missing. Good to go there. We're going to put a little clear on that. And most importantly, this guy. And we're going to clear that a little bit. Just a little bit. Just to bring it up, just to make sure it's sealed down, just to bring it up to everything else. And then tomorrow, this is all ready to go. Tomorrow, I'll just tack rag it, mix up my clear, and I'm going to hose the clear on. And then I'm going to leave it be. Now, what I did see, notice it was a little tacky, you know, when I first started sanding it, but after several sandings, 600, 800, 600, I did 400, 600, 600, 400, 600. And I didn't use Scotch-Brite. I suppose I could. I don't think it's necessary. So, I think we're good to go. Alright, so tomorrow I'll just tack rag it. Feels nice. You know, it's a little wavy. I could have, you know, redone the whole damn thing and made it perfect, but that's not the job here. That's not what the job calls for. And then I'm going to clear it, and we're going to let that clear just set up for a day. Come back, I'll sand it, probably do, maybe I'll do 600, and then 800. We'll see how it cuts. You know, it's not going to lay as flat as what was originally here. Like, this is really flat, but this is not as flat. But I don't think that's going to be a problem. Alright, so see how 600 goes. Maybe I'll do quick 400 pass, 600, and then 800 and 1,000. And go to 1,500. We'll see how that lays. And and then I'll polish it, and then the hood should be done. Now, I'm thinking that because of the way the clear sat on it, and the way I noticed the way it worked, the way it felt, the temperature, water in the air, I might do, so tomorrow it gets painted, leave it for a day, come back the next day, do the sanding routine, maybe just do a pass with the 400, pass with the 600, and then let it sit for a day, and let it, not do anything. Smell it, see what it smells like. We'll see what it feels like. Maybe I'll just wait 3 days to rub it out. I'll sand it all. If it feels like it can be sanded, I'll sand it all in a day. Take my time going through it, giving it like an hour in between sandings. Let it breathe a little bit, and I'll see how it feels. And if it still smells, I'll let it sit for another day, and then I'll wheel it. So we don't want to wheel it all right away. Anyway, that's my thoughts. We'll see how what I'm saying now pans out over the next couple of days. But the way it's going, like I said, I'll add a little clear on it, and I think the way it's going, it's really going to pop, and I'll be able to have this repaired in another couple of days. It'll be rubbed out. It'll look really good, and then I can move on to the tops of the fenders, and probably the side of the fender. I don't know if I want to clear the sides. I don't really need it. We're going to see. I might have to. Okay, I may wind up cleaning the whole car. But I think we're going to do the tops of the fenders. And we'll go to the hood. I'll order the trunk gasket. We'll do the trunk issues, we'll do the trunk lid. And then we'll come to the sides of the car, and I'll see. Maybe I want to clear the whole car at that point. I don't know. We'll see how what I'm saying pans out. One piece of this project at a time. I want to focus in on, I know that there's a few things that I know I need to dial in. Focus on dialing them in. It doesn't have to be perfect. Get the things that are dialed in, and then maybe I'll come down to it where I'll just do the whole damn car. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, we'll be back. All right, quick Nova update. All right, so last night I did a little bit of the airbrushing, fix a few blemishes. And so now I got my paint gun cleaned. I'm ready to go. What I did was, just to not have any further issues, I just wanted to just get the overspray off. I know I cleared it, and I know it's not perfect. But I went over it with 800 grit real quick, just a quickie. And you can see the difference. It knocked down some more highs. It left a different finish. Fortunately, I didn't take off too much over here, although I can still see some irregularities. But, it's because I'm nitpicking. And I'm really nitpicking. But we're going to bury it in clear now, and then I'm going to sand it down and polish it. So I have it up so I can get to the edges. I scotch-brighted the edges. I wiped it all down. It's down with Windex, and I think it looks great. Okay, I don't see how it could be any better than this. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to get ready, get myself ready, and I'm going to mix it up, tack rag it, blow over the air, tack rag it, and I'm going to lay down as much clear as I think I can get on here. We'll see how much I can get on here. And then I'll sand it down maybe tomorrow. We'll see how I feel about it tomorrow. And maybe I'll start my polish, or maybe I'll sand it down tomorrow and I'll let it breathe for another day to get a little harder so I can get a good whip polish on it. But if you can definitely tell, though, a lot of the paper that I just used, there's some strange areas. Like there's a sort of a strange skid mark here where it got very high. And as flat as this was, I just made it a little bit flatter. The texture's just a little bit better. So it definitely needs a good tack ragging, and I'm going to fire off. All right, wish me luck, and I'll be back. All right, I just sprayed it, laid some glass on it, and that's it. Okay, that's what it looks like. So you don't really see any of the issues. It's got some issues, and I could have done a better job. I should have had that tape line on there. I should have let it just do what it does. But I'm an idiot, and I'm learning. So the next time I do something like this, whether it be a modification or a repair or whatever, I'm just going to be a little bit better. You have to invest into your skill set. But this is it. And it's going to get hit with 1000 grit, 1500, and then I'm going to polish it with the wheel. And that could be a few days away. I don't know. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I think it looks really good. Really good. I'm very happy with it. Anyway, I don't want to stand too close to it. It's still off gassing. I'm going to get out of here and go get some lunch.